Welcome back, everybody. Today we are doing part 4 of our bolt-on performance upgrade series for C4 Corvette. Today we're going to be doing 2 things, technically 3 things. One is the throttle body coolant bypass. The other one's we're going to put a 160-degree thermostat in the car. And the other one, we're going to just replace the coolant temp sensor that I broke in the last video for the smog pump delete stuff. So we're going to go ahead and just take a look. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get started. All right, let's go around the other side. Okay, so there is a coolant line right here that goes into the throttle body right there. And then, maybe a little difficult to see here, and then it comes out of the throttle body on the other side, and then goes right in here to the engine block. So they do sell a kit that is just like a union that you take this off, you take that hose off, and you connect them with a set of hose clamps. We're not going to do that. The one that I have actually comes with 2 caps to cap off the throttle body, and then it comes with a 90-degree angle hose down there that comes all the way up here back into the factory pipe right there, which is like a lot cleaner than just adding another set of 2 hose clamps with a hokey little piece in there, which isn't the worst thing to do, and I know a lot of people are doing that, but this kit seems a lot cleaner. So we're gonna do that, and while we're there, we'll take all this off, and we're gonna get to the thermostat, which is on the other side here. We're gonna take that off, and then the other coolant temp sensor is right in there. While we have that out, we're gonna do that too. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and just get the front end jacked up, start draining the coolant out, just so it's not as messy as we're pulling that stuff out. We're definitely gonna see is it worth it or not worth it. In my opinion, yes, it's definitely worth it because you're gonna just take all that hot coolant from going into throttle body there and just get rid of it, lowering the temperature of it. I know they put that in there because of like emissions or drivability issue and stuff like that, but we no longer need it on this car, so we're definitely gonna bypass that. We'll also take a look at that bypass kit too and see what that looks like. I'm going to start by removing the intake tube here in the mass airflow sensor just so I can access the coolant line going into the throttle body and the thermostat housing and all that stuff in there. So I'm going to get that out of the way now. All right, now I'm gonna just go ahead and take this hose off here. I'm just gonna disconnect it from the side of the throttle body. Now I'm gonna just do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna just get the hose clamp from the top here, undo that, and then unhook it here, and then take it off of the coolant line that runs into the car. All right, now I'm going to show you up close here what I'm talking about. There is, right in there, goes into the throttle body. We're going to cap that. And then on the other side here, you can see this hose that going into it's actually going into the top of the intake manifold there. And then it goes right over to here, this other port, which we're also going to cap as well. So we're going to just go ahead and take this hose off. And then we're going to go ahead and take this hose off from here. And we're just going to run the new kit comes with the hose that goes from here all the way over and hooks right in here. So you don't have to worry about hooking up this to this, is what I was talking about earlier. So normally what you would do is just take these off and put that little union piece in there and hook it up, which isn't bad at all. It's not a bad thing at all. This thing is just, the one that I have is just gonna eliminate all this and just put one hose that goes down in there. And while we're in here now, I'll show you, there is the coolant sensor that I broke. Try to get a better look here. It's right in there. And then there's the connector for it. I'm gonna just go ahead and replace that. I bought another one. We're gonna swap that out. But yeah, underneath that is where the smog pump hard tube ran underneath, and when I was pulling on it, just snapped it. All right, so here I have the bypass kit. Although it looks like a regular hose, it's that 90-degree right there, which makes the difference. So this will actually go on to that spout on the intake manifold, and then you can tuck it behind the AC compressor and it goes right to the hose. And I'll show you when we get it on there. It fits really nice in there. I've seen people run like straight hose and then wrap it around in front and stuff like that, and then hook it up, you know, splice it anyway. So this literally eliminates that, and it'll be really clean. It's just from the heater line and it goes right into the engine there. This kit comes with 2 caps for the throttle body and 2 hose clamps, and it goes for like $24.99. I will leave a link in the description for this. Also, this is the coolant temp sensor that I broke. I broke the black piece off the top of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. This was like $14, like D.I.Y brand. Got it off Amazon, just because I needed it fast. So I'll put the link for this in there too. And then also got this off Amazon is 160-degree thermostat. So we're gonna just get ahead and get all this stuff and put it on the car. All right, first things first, I'm just gonna come in and get this coolant temp sensor real quick. As you can see, it's down here, and now that I have that hose off, I can see it a lot clearer. So I'm just gonna come in here. You can get a deep 19mm, 3/4 inch socket over there, especially when you're putting it back in. I think they're pretty good, so I ended up using a small breaker bar. Put the new one in. Already has thread sealant on it, which is nice. All right, and that's it. I just want to show you real quick how easy and nice this thing fits in here. There. And then down into there like that. So you can see how it goes right to that hard line and then right into there. And then even if you did have your smog pump solenoids here, it would run like kind of right through there, and it would still be kind of away from the belt and all that kind of stuff. And you see that tight 90 there, makes all the difference in the world. So we're gonna go ahead and hose clamp this up, and then throw our plugs in the throttle body here, and then we'll go ahead and start taking off the thermostat housing. All right, now I'm just gonna take the upper radiator hose off here, just so we can get the thermostat housing out. And with this off, I can take it on the bench and clean off. I can see those Permatex down with no gasket here, or with the gasket and Permatex, but I'm just gonna take it off, clean it up. On this side, it looks like there's a nut with a ground, and then there's like the bolt stud underneath of it. And the other side is just a regular 9/16 bolt. There's the ground, out of the way. An old acorn, gross. There's that stud. It's a lot easier to get to all this with obviously the mass airflow and the intake boot, but also with the smog pump stuff out of the way. And there's the housing. Actually pretty clean, so it won't be that big of a deal. And down there, it's the thermostat covered in RTV. Yeah, it looks like it did have a gasket too. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that out of there. There's the gasket and thermostat. All right, so I have everything cleaned up. I cleaned up the surface on the intake manifold, and I cleaned up the thermostat housing. What I learned years ago when I was a mechanic, if you are cleaning off aluminum surfaces with a razor blade, not to push on it like this, because this gouges it. But if you almost run on top of it like this to clean it off and almost scrape it back and forth like that. It's simple, and it's easy to do if you don't have access to any other like cleaning devices, like a wheel and a grinder or anything like that to clean off these surfaces. So just a little quick old school tech tip if you're just working with minimum things. Yes, I am going to use RTV to put this on, and yes, I know I can hear it in the comments section already, but I don't have a gasket. I didn't order one, and I've probably done like at least 100 of these with RTV, so usually not the end of the world. So I'm just going to put a decent coating on here, not too crazy, kind of like the guy did before, but he had the gasket and the RTV, so I'm just going to use the RTV just a little bit on here, just because this is what I'm working with at the moment. So I'm going to get ahead and put some RTV on and get this back in the car. All right, it's all buttoned up there. I'm gonna let it sit overnight with the RTV. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the mass airflow back in here and get the coolant back in there, and that'll about do it. All right, so that'll do it for today's video. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Very inexpensive thing to do. $24.99 for the hose kit if you go that route. There are cheaper ways to do that as well. $15 for the thermostat. Literally takes no time, especially if that smog pump delete stuff's out of there. You can get to everything really easy. So if you enjoy the video, press like, subscribe, and stay tuned for part 5.